Hey guys, this is Introducing Emmy, and I thought I would work on inking a page of Trying Human and just kind of give you an update on where I've been, because I know I sort of disappeared on you guys for a little bit, which that was a bad thing. But a lot of good stuff happened in the interim. The main one was that I got a new computer desk, and it's just fantastic. I'm trying to think of the name of the company who made it here. I want to say, also, do I have a percentage on what angle I drew this at? Nope. Well, it's a good desk. I can't think of the name of the company right now, but it's black and it's huge and it has like multiple built-in hutches and things like that, and just tons of storage. And with the new desk, I got a new computer. Kinda. I just sort of rebuilt my old one with a lot more space on it. And this is actually the first video that I've been able to record on the new computer. I tried to record a Redline Tuesday, but this is like why I haven't recorded in a while. My software, like about halfway into the Redline Tuesday, was acting up, and I was like, what's going on here? Well, it turns out something happened when I switched to the new computer and it wasn't registered properly anymore, so it was like giving me a demo version of the software, and it was just a big pain because I didn't want to pay for it again, and I had to like talk to corporate basically to get the software to work again, get like my old code back and everything. I don't know what happened exactly, but that's what I get for not using like Fraps or proprietary software or what have you. But anyway, I got the whole thing working again, so this is the first video I've been able to record since then. What else? I have like a little list here. So yeah, Redline Tuesdays are coming back. I just haven't had a chance to record them. I'm also going to have to re-record the one I was working on before because the video completely messed up and was unusable, so that's no good. But yeah, Redline Tuesdays are not gone or anything like that. In fact, none of my recordings are gone, for good or anything like that. I'm still going to be doing all kinds of art and hopefully more tutorials. I've had a lot more requests for some different tutorials on different like things that I've drawn before, but yeah. So Redline Tuesdays aren't gone, coming back. And if you have work you want to see redlined, send it to emmy.bittner@introducingemy.com with the subject Redline Tuesday. It's in my banner too on my YouTube page, so not too hard to miss. What else? Oh, my hip. So some people know this, some people don't. I have a really bad left hip that I injured as a teenager, and it didn't really hurt too much as a teenager, though. I did, my mom, according to my mom, I don't remember this, I did complain at times about it hurting. But I definitely remember by the time I was in college, it was hurting a lot more regularly, but not too bad. But now it is like excruciating. It is so hard to sit in my computer chair for any length of time, and not just like normal, like, oh, you should get up and stretch every 2.5 hours or whatever it is. It's like I can only sit down for like a few minutes at a time, and then I have to get up and start like moving my hip around and everything. But I went to the doctors, and they put me on tramadol, which is like a synthetic non-addictive painkiller, and boy did it make me feel loopy. Like I felt like I was drunk or something. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. But I've been taking it for a few days now, and I'm finally, I think like this morning I took some, and I'm not feeling the effects so far as like the drunk feeling, but I am feeling, like the painkilly sensation. So that's good. I don't like being so incapacitated, like I don't like not being able to drive or any of that stuff. So hopefully the pain killing part of the medicine doesn't wear off, because that would be bad. That's the part I need. But as far as the hip goes, I saw my doctor and he sent me to a specialist, and I'm going to be in physical therapy for 6 weeks. And if that doesn't work, it sounds like they're going to apply to my insurance to do a, where'd he go? to do an exploratory surgery and actually like look at the joint, because my x-rays haven't really shown anything so far as the bones are concerned. So I think they're worried there could be like soft tissue damage. So yeah. Sorry, I have to be silent when I draw my circles. But the bad news is I'm back to walking with a cane. I walked with a cane about 2 years ago. And then for a while it stopped hurting. Like I wasn't having as many problems with it. And then now it's back to pretty much where it was before. So no fun. I have to walk with a cane. But 'tis life. Okay, that's good. One thing I wanted to do was I wanted to change her mouth here. Go back to 0. I'm going to be at a convention this weekend. I said that a little weird. Convention. I'm going to be at WonderCon in Anaheim. What days is it? Hold on, I'm going to look at my... From the 18th to the 20th. I'm not going to have a booth, but I'm going to be around Artist Alley. Probably around... Well, I don't know if Scuttlebutt's going to have a table, but if they have a table, I'll probably be around Scuttlebutt's table, or I'll be at the Tapastic booth, or the Prism Comics booth, or I'll be around, you know. So if you want to get any of your Trying Human stuff signed, or if you have any Seamus stuff you want me to sign, or any of that, let me know. I'll do that for you. Oh, I like that much better. She looks much more upset. He doesn't, though. I'm excited, though. I'm going to be on a panel Saturday night that I think is being hosted by Prism Comics. I really should know this. And it's... I think it's Queer Women of Webcomics is the name of the panel. So I'll be on that panel, and I believe it's either from 7 to 8 or 8 to 9. I think it's 7 to 8. I'll have to look again. But if you're going to be at WonderCon, just check your schedule book, and that'll let you know. I'm kind of nervous. We could have, like, we had the option to message the person who's going to be hosting the panel and like interviewing us, and tell them like questions we wanted them to ask, or you know, topics to focus on. But honest to God, I just couldn't think of anything for her to ask me, or him to ask me. I don't know who's hosting it, but I was just kind of like, so I am really going to be winging it. What else? Oh, I had some questions about whether or not I was still drawing for Seamus. As far as I know, I am. I haven't talked to him in almost a month, though. But he's been busy with like cons and doing his own thing. And honestly, no new big series have come out lately. It's kind of been a little dry in the gaming release world. So I haven't heard from him as far as that is concerned. And also, I had some questions about why he didn't use my thumbnail for, what was the game? Infamous Second Son? I don't know. He has it. He paid for it. He didn't use it. Huzzah. I don't really care one way or the other, but you'd have to ask him. I really have no idea. He used other thumbnails that I did from around the same time, so I don't know what was going on with that, but yeah. In fact, he actually pulled out some of my older thumbnails for like, oh, what's that one game? Well, it's a game. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I did the thumbnail for him like a long time ago, and he recently actually started to play the game. It was a re-release of like an older, like an HD release of an older game. It's about like a detective, and I think it has like a little bit of a Twin Peaks feel to it. Oh, it's totally slipping my mind what the name of it is. But anyway, yeah, so he I was like, oh, I totally forgot I did that one for him. So I just saw that the other day. But yeah, as far as everything else is concerned, I'm doing pretty good. Oh, and totally forgot this. The first volume of Trying Human is coming out soon, I swear. I have been for anybody who is not in the loop, my webcomic is finally going to print. And it should have been in print by now, but I was having problems with my printers, like trying to find somebody to do like large quantities of the book, like 2,000-3,000 books for a decent price. And I finally found a few, but they're all being really slow about getting back to me. I'm really finicky when it comes to getting books printed. I like to have, they call them resource packs or sample packs that show you like all the paper types and cover types and all that stuff. And I sent away for a bunch, and only one of them has really gotten back to me, but they still haven't sent it. So I had to email them again and be like, hello. So I'm basically just waiting on that, and then the book is ready to go. I'm also getting the PDF version of the book reviewed right now for like spelling errors and anything else that might have slipped through the cracks while I wait for the printers to get back to me about everything else. I'm really excited though. I'm like super, super excited to see it in book form. Like, I can't believe it's here. Like, woohoo, it's been, oh my gosh, how many years? 6 years since I started posting it online? Not quite. I think in the summer it'll have been 6 years, but it's so exciting to finally see it in print. And I'm already getting the second book ready for print as well. Gosh, I could just spit. I'm so excited. Also, I probably should have said this was kind of spoilery to Trying Human. If you haven't read the newest page, Magnus is coming back. I love inking, don't you? It's funny, I think inking is probably my favorite process, because I find it to be the least time consuming generally. Kind of depends on what I'm inking and things like that, but well, this video is no longer going to be an update video. I'm basically just going to work on this until I get it done, if that is okay with you. But yeah, I think inking is probably my favorite part of getting the comic ready. I think my least favorite is just sketching. Like sketching is probably the absolute most time consuming part of it. Once the sketches are down pat, then I'm good to go. I ink it, and from there it's almost like a factory process, or like I can kind of go on autopilot and not think so much. But when I'm doing the initial layouts and trying to draw sets and planning where everybody's going to stand for the whole scene and stuff, oh my gosh, that part of it is just, it is a labor. It is a labor of love, that is for sure. And it's kind of switched. It used to be that sketching was sort of my like loosey-goosey, part. Like, I wouldn't really focus too much on it, and I'd sort of zip through it without thinking, which was bad because I wasn't learning anything, from doing that. I was just kind of trying to put as many pages out as I could, or in the early days of trying human, trying to get, more readers and stuff. But after I slowed down a little bit, my quality definitely came back. Or began, I should say. I guess it wasn't really like there and gone in the first place. Oh, here's another cool thing. So I think I have a few people here that watch Let's Plays just because of my affiliation with Seamus, but if anybody watches Vintage Beef Stuff, he has been playing a mod pack in his single player world called Life in the Woods, right? Yeah, I think it's called Life in the Woods. And I actually made a server for Life in the Woods for Dave and I to play on it. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. And Dave and I don't do a lot of stuff together so far as like games or anything. Like we watch TV together sometimes, but we don't have a lot of shared hobbies. To be honest, I kind of like it, but I prefer it that way. But it's nice to like have something finally to kind of like partake of with him. And the mod is super, super fun to play on a server. There's just so much to do. And the only thing I changed was I took out underground biomes because it just, frankly, it wasn't working for some reason. I don't think there's a multiplayer version of that mod pack. And if there is, well, it's too late now because the server is up and going and all the land's generated, and I don't feel like traveling 100 million more miles just to find some new underground biomes. But anyway, I did add a camping mod, which makes travel like really fun. Like you feel like you're really, out there roughing it and whatever. If you can make a modded server of that for you and your friends, or like find the server to play on, I highly recommend it. It is super, super fun. Let's do more Magnus here. I haven't drawn this character Magnus in a really long time. I think he made an appearance, like his last appearance was in chapter 9, I want to... No, maybe 8. I don't know. It was a long time ago. It was like the second volume, and then I was like, bye, Magnus. See you in chapter 18. Magnus was always kind of a fickle character for me to write. Like, I never knew whether to make him sympathetic or not, like, or just to have him be like pure villain. I guess he's kind of like a little sympathetic later. Right now, though, he kind of comes off as like, I'm mean and evil to be mean and evil, I also feel kind of bad, like my only like really bulked up character is kind of a jerk. I'm gonna have to make like a bulked up male draconian at some point who's a nice guy, just so like people don't get the impression that that's not what I wanted. Where'd my correction window go? I'm gonna have to make a bulked up muscly reptoid guy that isn't a total jerk, just so people don't get this impression that like, well, I guess Brevis, but he's dead. I only show him in a few flashbacks. Like, it's hard with aliens because if with humans, like, we know humans. Like, we know that, like, not all of one body type or one race or whatever is a certain way. Well, unless, like, you're really racist. But, like, when you can show like one person with like, for example, like Rose, you can show one person with red hair and like know that not every red hair person is like being abducted by aliens or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, we can infer traits of humans because we know humans. We're around humans. We are humans. At least most of us are, I think. But when it comes to like aliens or any fictional species and stuff, if you only have like one body type or like one example of one thing, then really all that the audience can infer is from that like one example you show. So that's sort of a pain. He looks really boxy jawed, but I know that's how it should look. Oh well, this will be fun. When I first drew him, I wasn't very like well versed in drawing muscly characters, so I don't think his physique really came across very well. So it'll be fun to draw him now, and like actually be semi well versed at drawing muscled characters. Well, I'm not like amazing or anything, but I'm not terrible either. Okay, I need to draw. He has this like sort of arbitrary ammo belt I gave him. Which is kind of funny because in this chapter he states that he doesn't know how to use a gun. Which was something I decided for the Reptoids like quite a while ago. I didn't want them using guns. I wanted them to use like more quote unquote primitive weapons like spears and knives and close combat, that sort of stuff. Like they would just rend you limb from limb, you know. But his he wears like I guess it's decorative, but like an ammo belt. Since most of their clothing comes from like what they scavenge off of humans, he probably doesn't really have a great idea what he's actually wearing. I will put the bullets on in Photoshop. It's just a little easier to do it there. Crap, that should have been. Okie dokie. Let's draw Roger. You know, I actually intended to stop recording a while ago, but now I'm kind of getting into it and I don't want to stop, so kind of gonna get a semi-long inking video, I guess. I really like the way Manga Studio lets you work on like multiple layers and turn lines like blue and black or whatever color you want so that you can kind of differentiate like where you're working and everything. So like here earlier I drew over into Roger's area, like Magnus's arms, and now I can like kind of go back and touch that up, and I'm actually going to thicken this line here, which is H shoulder. I'm going to rotate that out. This is actually one of my shorter pages so far as like number of panels. It's only 4 panels, but the reptoids are kind of complicated figures. Like they have like a lot of little parts and details and things, so it usually takes me a while to draw them and be happy. I just heard my dog sigh. I wonder if I keep her awake with my recordings. There we go. So I don't have a lot more to do on this. I think I'm actually going to stop for now because I need to go and make breakfast and feed my pooch. But I will actually come back and finish recording the last bit of inking on this. And maybe I'll even color it in a second video or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. Okay, and we're back here to finish inking this. Let's see. I think I was working on Roger over here. Oh boy, I'm going to be really excited to get this page up. Or I should say, I am really excited to get this page up. I feel like I haven't updated in forever. I think it's only been like a week and a half or something, but long enough for me. It's kind of funny, something that comes up a lot is the fact that I draw my eyebrows through the hair. Like, a lot of people seem to have really strong opinions about that, and I'm not sure why, but it's just something I started a while ago when I have a character who's emoting, and it's important to see the emote, but they're at such an angle that like the hair covers it or what have you, so it's always funny though what people have strong feelings about. think. Sometimes I like to put like a little cut in areas where like this is the same, like the color here is going to be the same color on this like little grommet area. So I like to put like a little mark there so when I go and like paint bucket it in, it goes right through. Saves a little time. Okay, I think it's time for the correction to come down a little bit. Also, if you guys don't mind seeing me work on comic pages, I might do more of these kind of videos. Because some days I can't live stream, you know, like I just don't have the time, or the live stream's not working, which has become a thing recently. I don't know why, but live streams are having a lot of problems with their chat rooms. And that's part of the fun of live stream is getting to see what folks are saying, you know. It's kind of like why people do YouTube videos and stuff to interact. So, but if you guys like seeing me do this kind of work, I can always do more of these. This was like an awkward place to cut the arm, like right there. It's kind of hard to make out like what sort of a gesture he's doing. I might go over that face a little bit. I don't know why, but Roger's face looks a little feminine there. Okay, let's do the wings. This was actually something I was kind of dreading with Magnus, is he's got these enormous wings, and the last time that I drew him, well, basically the first time that I drew him as a draconian, not as a human. If you're familiar with the comic, the aliens can change the way they look. So the first time I drew him as a draconian, a lot of people didn't even know he had wings because I don't think I drew them, or I didn't draw them well. Like you can only see in like a few like long shots of the character could see his wings. They were pretty shoddily drawn, and I'm actually working on that book right now. The second book, I'm getting that one ready for printing as well. So that's one of the things I'm going to go back is make sure his wings are a lot more noticeable. The other thing is, I kind of had this bad habit of just sort of like slapping the wings on the back, like a cape or some sort of static object. Like right here is not a great example of that, but in later parts, like later pages of the same scene, his wings are a lot more expressive, and I think the big thing I want to try to do is where's my rotation? Oh, there. The big thing I want to do is try to have his wings emote more with him, because they are like a part of his body. They're not just like a prop on his back, you know. And he's my only draconian that has his wings out. My other draconian is a woman, and she wears like a long dress over her wings, so you don't see them. That was just like a design choice to make her look a little sleeker. But if you've ever watched the show Gargoyles, it's an older show now, but if anybody grew up on that show, they like use their wings a lot to like talk and emote and stuff. And I want to bring a lot of that into this character. It's kind of hard to do that with a still character, so I'm just going to have to make sure that his wings are always in like big dramatic poses. Having trouble clearing my throat today. Okay. Oof, got something in my eye. Brush, brush, brush. That's the other nice thing about working on layers is, I think I mentioned this in the first part of the video, but you can really draw through your shapes, and when you ink, which you don't really have the option to do that on paper. I mean, I guess there are ways, but it's like you have to tape off areas and stuff, whereas here it's like a lot easier. Okay, so one thing I want to do was I wanted to go over Roger's face in this first panel, because I think his eyelashes are just too thick, and he looks like kind of girly. He almost has like a come hither look. So I'm just gonna erase. Same thing over here. That's definitely a problem. This eye is like sitting lower than the other eye. I think that's better. So here's the deal. He's saying like who, so he's making like an ooh shape with his mouth. But no matter how I drew it, I just didn't really like the way it looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it, put it on a new layer, turn it off. I guess it just looks silly to me, but that's technically the shape that his mouth would be. Oh my gosh, I just heard my dog let out a big groan. Her life is so hard. Yeah, like, I guess that's right. I mean, beats that one where he's like, hey, with his teeth. I don't know. It looks goofy. Ugh, your tongue goes back when you do. Ooh, so you wouldn't even be able to see that. Could you see his teeth? Nah, that just looks goofy. Alright. I think I'm also gonna experiment with bringing his jaw in a little right there. I'm trying to think what was going on when I did this page. I remember being just extremely exhausted when I first sketched this page, and I did the first bit of inking in that same session as well. And I think at that point I had been working for like about 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours straight without taking a break, and I kind of exhausted myself on the page. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks a lot better. Just the flat out like O mouth. But I have problems with making sure the character's eyes are focused. But I found that's a pretty common problem. If any of you guys are watching, or if you aren't watching the show, I highly recommend it. I'm not like a huge fan of reality shows, but this one I really like. It's Jim Henson's Creature Shop on the Sci-Fi Channel. I think it's on at 10, or maybe, yeah, that looks a lot better. I think it's on at like 10 or 9. I can't remember. It's on right after Face Off though, same night and everything. But it's a competition reality show where they make creatures that are akin to the kind of creatures that the Jim Henson Creature Shop makes. But one thing that they mess up all the time is the eyes. They can never seem to focus those damn eyes, and it always comes up in their critiques, and I mean even the best of the best artists, but it's kind of a detail thing. That's something you sort of have to finagle with, but it's so important. You know, I understand why people hound on eyes, because they're like a huge part of the character and, you know, where you're looking and everything. Alrighty, I think that'll do it. I'm kind of just looking over to make sure everything's... I kind of wanted to put Roger's silhouette here, because he is technically standing next to her in this scene. But I think he would kind of get in the way of them. Yeah, I think I'm just going to let it be. I think what I will do, though, is put in a few little motion lines from him, like tilting his head around. And maybe like one... Oh, and if you're wondering what this is, she's like flashing back to another part of the comic, so there's like a panel here that I don't need to worry about. Or not even like a panel, but like an image there. So let's do... Let's do like that. Those will be like the tongue flicks. That's like her startle movement, and maybe like one other little thing I wanted to mess with, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to or not, to be honest, because it's like another little detail thing I have to worry about. So her jacket comes there. Okay, is her fingers in this fist are a little cockeyed. Or crooked. I guess they wouldn't be cockeyed because they're not eyes. I don't know. Can the word cockeye apply to anything that's not eyes? I didn't want to fix it initially because it involved doing that. But that just took me like 5 seconds to fix it, and now it's no big deal. It's funny, you can't even really see this very well. I mean, like right now you can because I'm really close to it, but in the final panel, this would be very small. Um, I'm gonna make this black and this black. Would help if I was on the right layer. There we go. I've been trying to get in the habit of putting a lot more black on the Majestic suits because I feel like a lot of times when I shade their suits, the color that I've chosen for the shadows, I just, without making it black itself, no matter how dark I make it, I just can't get like, deep enough shadows because their suits are pretty dark. Or without making like a completely separate like instance, or not instance, what's the word I'm looking for, like a completely separate like shading palette for just their suits, which would, I mean, I could do, it would just be a lot more work. So what I try to do is add black into a few key areas. And that way you still get like a lot of the same depth, but for half the price. The only problem is that sometimes like here when I ink this, the outside of the line was more like this, but now that I filled that with black, you can't see that anymore. So I have to kind of go in and rebuild that little area there. Okay, but that's good to go. I'm going to take this over into Photoshop and start coloring it, and I think I will make more video for that. Oh, he also has like these. Well, maybe they don't, because in the Terrans it's like vestigial. I'll leave it out. Okay, anyway. So I'm going to go over to Photoshop and start coloring, and I think I will actually make an additional video of me coloring everything, but I'm going to put this one up first, so you'll see it before the coloring stuff. So, alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye!